Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is Boop I Love You, Chapter 26, and this one is titled Questions. Grabbing your bag, you tore down the stairs and out of the building, only slowing when you got to the school gates. You stopped just inside the gate and took a few deep breaths. Okay, this is it. Let's play it cool. You fixed your uniform and adjusted your bag before stepping forwards and out of the gate. You looked to your right and froze. Shinsou was there. Hey, he said with a small wave. Hi, you replied softly, your gentle eyes looking deeply into his deep purple ones before you looked down. I've been looking for you, he said, looking away slightly with a light blush dusting his cheeks as he approached you. You have? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? You asked, looking back up at him and tilting your head slightly. Good thing, I hope, he replied. Can we talk? Okay, he said. Where do you want to talk? There's a park just down the road there, Shinsou said, pointing back over his shoulder. We could talk there. Okay, you said, walking closer to him and then past him. He turned and you walked side by side down to the park. So, how have you been? He asked quietly. Okay, he shrugged. You? You asked. Well, I'll be honest, he said. Been pretty crap since my cat ran away. You blushed. Sorry, No, don't apologize, he replied. I get why you ran off. I probably would have freaked out and run off too if I were in your situation. You smiled slightly, still looking at the pavement, watching his shoes as you walked beside him. So, what happened? He asked. Did you get stuck in shift form? You are a shapeshifter, yeah? Yeah, I got a quirk duration extension done, and it worked a little too well, he said with a sigh. I couldn't change back. Oh, okay, he said as you both reached the park. So, why me? Why did you come and find me? He asked. That burning question that had been rolling around in his mind finally was out in the open. You sighed again as you walked over to the swing and sat down. Shinsou walked over to one of the poles that anchored the swing set to the ground and leaned up against it, crossing his arms across his chest calmly. I guess I owe you the full story, he said, giving him an embarrassed smile as you rocked the swing back and forth on your heels. Honestly, you don't owe me anything, but I'd love to hear the full story, Shinsou replied, his tired, deep purple eyes watching you keenly. Okay, well, it all pretty much started when I saw you compete at the UA Sports Festival, you divulged. I thought you were pretty cool and I wanted to meet you. Shinsou smiled slightly. So I waited at the UA the following day to talk to you, but I missed you. Then I found out that you liked cats, he said. So you shifted into cat form to meet me? He asked. Well, yeah, you replied, avoiding eye contact due to embarrassment. Cute, he chuckled. Your heart skipped a beat. But my quirk didn't last long, that's why in those early days I'd just take off so suddenly, you replied. He said. Okay, so then you wanted to get it extended so you didn't have to be running off so quickly, he added. You nodded. Yeah, I found some shonky guy that extended my quirk for me, but then, as you know, it worked too well and I got stuck in cat form. Shinsou nodded. Okay, well that's all making sense so far. There was a moment's silence before he spoke again. So, about you coming home with me? Your face turned bright red and you stopped swinging, just staring at the ground. Well, you invited me and you said you wished I'd come with you, so... Well, yeah, I thought you were a real cat, so... You hesitated and looked at him. I'm sorry, I really am. I shouldn't have deceived you like that, you said sadly. Hey, those were the best 3 months of my life, he said softly, his tired eyes full of raw emotion. I really liked you living with me. Your eyes widened, and the blush came back before you quickly looked away. Me too. I really like you, Shinsou, you said softly. You gave him a quick side glance. He smiled and looked away as your eyes met. I'm kind of glad you're actually human because I'm starting to feel a bit conflicted. What do you mean? You asked curiously, looking directly at him now. How do you explain to someone that you're falling in love with your cat? He said, his voice barely above a whisper as he looked back at you. Your heart leapt in your chest and you looked away again with a smile on your face. Sorry, that was weird, he said with a kill me now type laugh. Not as weird as a cat falling in love with its owner, you replied, glancing back at him with a little smirk. He grinned. I don't even know your name, Sin, he said with a chuckle. What's your real name? Yin, he replied. Yin Lin. Oh, hey, that reminds me. How'd you find me? It's a long story, but my friend that's seeing your friend found you on Instagram, Shinsou said. Oh, Kaminari? You asked. Yeah. We went to the quirk registry office, then narrowed the search from there, he said. I'm just glad I found you again. I'm glad too, you replied with a smile. You both gazed at each other for a bit before he cleared his throat. Hey, can I have your number? Oh, sure, he said. He pulled his phone out and unlocked it, handing it to you for you to punch your number in. You paused when you saw his home screen. It was a picture of you two, together, with you in cat form, of course. You smiled. And, can I get a date? He asked again. You looked up at him, that familiar lopsided smile gracing his face. He giggled nervously. Yeah, sure, he replied. Nothing like going on a date with your cat. He laughed. Also, I like that you kept the ribbon. Looks good on you. Thanks, you said with a shy smile. After putting your number in his phone, you stood to leave. I better get going, he said as he handed his phone back to him. Oh, sure, he said a little sadly. I'll text you. Okay, he said with a smile, nervously backing away before turning and jogging out of the park. Oh my god, I got a date with Shinsou! He squealed internally. He watched you leave, his heart beating wildly. Ah, yes, can't believe she said yes to a date. She's so freaking cute, both as human and cat. He smiled as he pushed off the pole and put his phone back in his pocket, heading slowly for home. And there is the end of chapter 26. Stay tuned for chapter 27 coming tomorrow.